Today.
Hi, Scott. Thank you, buddy. And hi, Jamie. How are you?
Andy, how's it going over there? Hello, everyone.
Doing good. Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Trading Studio. My name is Andy. That's Jamie and Scott. And let's dive in. Bear with us, you regulars, as I go over the disclaimer here. Okay, we are a content publisher here, even though Jamie and I will be talking about some different strategies and maybe some different stocks. Nothing should be construed as investment advice, and if that's what you are seeking, you probably want to look for a registered advisor or a stockbroker, somebody who can legally give you that information. The agenda for today, market recap as always, a little scare in the market at the end of the day. Did kind of bounce off lows, but did not finish anywhere near highs. We'll talk about that. Holly recap. Jamie will take over and a few good trades out there today. So Jamie will recap the Holly for us. And then I created a new alert. I think it's always good to be prepared, just in case. I know this market is resilient and buy the dip has been in favor, but at some point that's going to change. And I think it's always good, to be ready and maybe have some shorting strategies in the back of or in your quiver, if you will. So yeah, this is one that's kind of breaking the 50-day SMA, and I have a kind of bracketed in there so it won't be too far away from the 50-day SMA. So anyway, it's interesting. I'm also going to back test it just using one filter, and I think you're going to be really amazed at the difference. And then the price alerts game, boy, nothing good out there today, and I'll have some comments to make about that. I really believe it's the breadth that we're experiencing in the market right now. It's just not good. Okay, you have a few stocks that are kind of holding it up, and like I said, we'll talk about all that. But if you've been in a lot of positions and nothing's going up in your portfolio and it's going down, there's probably some logic behind that, and we'll dive into it as well. So let me back out of this. No, I can't back out. I got to go over the 5-star support, education, and training at Trade Ideas that we have. So guys, when you come on board here, you're going to open it up and you're going to think, wow, this is powerful. Okay, this is a Ferrari, and it is. It can do a lot of things. It's by far the best alerting software out there. And of course, I'm probably a little biased, but I don't think there's anyone close. But at the same time, okay, we offer plenty of education and training, okay, and also, excuse me, you can be as basic as you want when you open it up. There's plenty of channels to dive into to get instant alerts that we built for you, pre-configured in the system already. So don't make it difficult at first, okay? Just use what we're giving you and then build from there. So, but anyway, along the left side there, you're going to see a number of webinars we do. That's every Monday through Thursday at 5 Eastern time. And you can see the presenters on that. It's usually Jamie, Steve, and myself kind of juggling it. On Wednesday, we do give you our CEO, Dan Merkin, and our CTO, Brad Williams. So we encourage you to ask questions in here as well. So, but the big one is the support webinar that we have every Monday through Friday at 12 Eastern time. Okay, this is a good place, great place for you to come if you have questions. Okay, because we can use the visual of our live stream and answer your questions by not only just talking about it, but we can actually show you as well. So please get in that if you have any questions. This is what kind of took over our 101s. We guys got too busy for 101, so this is the format we started a couple of years ago. It works great. You just got to utilize it. All right, I'll save this for Scott on the way out, and let's back out and pull up the spies. And while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and launch the Epic pin. And while that's loading, I will grab my corner of my leg. Come here to me. And there you have it. It was a scare this morning. I shouldn't say a scare. I mean, basically, we just pulled back 1.5% at the open. And we put in kind of a perfect little spinning top there with a wick on both sides. So I guess we, kind of bounced at the very end of the day to kind of make that look better than what it was. But if you're just looking at the SPYs, no harm there. You're still above all your moving averages, Qs, and you're going to kind of see the same picture there. That one actually, is stronger because of the likes of Amazon and the likes of Apple really holding up this Google. I can name a few more. Microsoft, I mentioned today in one of our little chats in our at work here that all the traders are on. I was like, why aren't we just in Microsoft, Amazon, and Apple is shorting everything else?
Like the
Because
90s.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is. You got the big boys that are leading the way, and really they're holding up the market, guys. I mean, it's I think if you keep an eye on this, these big boys, and if they do, start to bleed down below their moving averages, I think we may see some sell off, but who knows? Maybe at that point the IWM will kick in gear and it'll do real well. But nonetheless, I think you got to be prepared because the IWM, even though it had a nice bounce back today, it's nowhere near. It's been kind of in a range over the last 6 months, and just a sloppy mess there. And if you're like a lot of traders that like to trade a lot of small caps, get more bang for your buck, you may be struggling right now. So anyway, back to the SPYs. I think you got to watch this, tomorrow, because there was a big gap down. If we get another gap down tomorrow, I'm not saying we will, but if we do, so in other words, the overnight markets sell off some more. I mean, China really got hit, some Asian markets. So I think you want to, keep an eye on and see if we do gap down, if we can continue to fight back like this. I think that's what I'll be watching. All right, Jamie, and not a whole lot to add. A little scared this morning with the 1.5% gap down, but it fought back to finish, only down about 0.92%. So
It was definitely a buy the dip day.
it was, yeah. If you're playing the right stuff, you're for sure. I mean, this Amazon on the gap down, just, if you're trading the right stuff, it worked. But IWM actually, there was some stocks in there that if you bought the gap down. The problem is if you came in long them, you're fighting. You're trying to fight the ones you're in to get them back to positive. It's hard if you have a portfolio and you got a big gap down to look for opportunity because you want to manage the positions you're in. I find that difficult for me. So
Right. And an interesting observation is if you look at the strength alerts, they all did, like if you would have bought all of them on the gap down, you'd be in the money on all of them. You might be flat on one or down a smidge on one.
Yep.
Interesting though, because in the
You're
support
right.
session earlier today, Mike brought that up. He's like, hey, are you going to talk about how you handle any of the strength alerts? I'm like, well, here's an interesting correlation. They are the strongest stocks out there. That's why they're the strength alerts, right? So not saying it's going to work every time, but that's definitely something I'm going to keep my eyes on
Sure.
when these
Gap
gaps do occur. Correct.
downs. Absolutely. All right. Well, if you don't have anything to add to the overall market recap, I guess it's that time, or you steal it from me and talk
Yeah,
about
let's
a
talk
little bit
about
of a Holly.
Holly.
Not bad.
Boy,
Ready for Holly?
after the week Holly had last week, making up for it this
Mm-hmm.
week.
Yes, she is.
So let's see here. I lost my
You may
control
send it
panel.
to you.
There we go. I
Okay.
got it. Okay, you should have eyes on.
I do.
All right, and strategy panel. Let me just go ahead and swing this over. Okay, so how many trades did she crank out today, or signals, I should say? 5, 7, and 12. Okay, so here they all are right here. Just looking at the blotter as of the close, you're like, yeah, as we can see, if I cycle through the risk modes down here, and what I've done is I've got these all set on $30 risk. After last week, I kind of dialed it back a little bit. And of course, having a good week this week. So if we look at conservative, risking $30 a trade, we're on 71.44, but look, moderate, 484, okay? course, if we didn't put any stops in at all, we're at 128. So not exactly a banner day, but some interesting things to point out nonetheless. We do have a teensy-weensy little bit of spread between conservative and moderate profit in the ATHE trade. So let's take a look at that little guy real quick. Holly pulling the plug pretty quickly on this one. On the profit save that we can see right here. So $0, and if you would have held till the close, $68.63. But you know what? Everybody's used to seeing these in hundreds. So I tell you what, let's just go ahead and change that back real quick. Easier math anyway. Well, my number pad, the old number lock. Okay. Okay. So this is what everybody's used to seeing. So, you know, risking $100, conservative profit, zero, 231 bucks at the close if you held all day. Now, Holly just pulling her typical profit save exit here. We get up in the trade, pulls back, starts to go sideways. It's like, yeah, it's not working anymore. So that's the Holly logic, kind of a modified trailing stop. Basically, all we had to do was stick with our hard stop down here. We got a little bleedy right here, getting about halfway down, but hey, happens sometimes. Then, boy, you know, a couple of things to point out about this trade. Look what was happening at the same time. Of course, this was the horseshoe up trade. We can see, well, Jamie's fingers aren't working too well today. Give me a line. There we go. Okay, so notice we had just, you know, we got a little horseshoe pattern, but also a nice tight range break occurring. Just get the signal from Holly right after that. So that's always a good sign to see that happening. And how was the volume on ATHE? It was pretty good, closing at 4.62. These guys were pretty pegged out most of the day. I was keeping an eye on it myself. And then we even get another opportunity, if you felt so compelled, to play another break here and get another decent move throughout the day. So two decent add opportunities on ATHE today, all with that secondary pattern already played out, statistical viability from Holly, and then yet another chance to leverage that trade later in the day. So some good action from ATHE today. You know, interestingly enough, since I have been running Holly live in automation, helping to get all the bugs worked out for the E-Trade port version of Brokerage Plus, I've had reentries activated. Now, we don't have any columns on here the way it is to you know, show a reentry, but for example, in what we typically call a trade around, all right, which is seeing Holly get stopped out of a stock, like in this ARPO today. Let me just expand this chart out a little bit so we don't have to squint so much. But you can see in this little jumble right here, a quick buy, and then there was a quick stop out. All right, now I'm trying to get this a little bit bigger so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So it was a quick stop out. Since I had re-entries activated, look over, it's back in because the re-entry point is going to be halfway between the original entry signal and the stop. It's just such a small area right here, but I put the orange line in where the re-entry occurred. So it was a beautiful thing. This is a great way to trade the trade arounds because it automates it for you once you get that halfway distance between the signal and the stop out. And it was just perfect. I mean, you got the big run of the day. And of course, I did get a little lucky today and got out of half of it up there. But as we were talking about in the support session earlier, why did I choose to get out there? Well, we just take a look back here. I was checking out the weekly and notice where it peaked out today coincided with these areas of potential supply, and that's exactly where this little guy stopped. So this makes a huge difference. This one trade around made the difference between, you know, flat day, pretty much. There we go, moderate. Even in moderate, on $100 for risk, you would only ended up with 27.52. But if you could fold that trade around in here, it was a good day. Okay, if you're risking 100, you probably would have been up around 600 bucks on the day. So, once again, just kind of pointing out some things that you can't really fold into a back test or what might occur on that day. I also got kind of lucky because I missed some of the short fills due to hard to borrow. Well, today that just happened to work in my favor, right? They didn't do too well. So sometimes missed fills when you're automating are gonna hurt you. Sometimes they're gonna help. There's just really no way to know what's, how it's gonna turn out for that day. But it was an interesting day today because in a live environment, up a lot more than what moderate is showing here, just due to that one trade around. So just kind of felt compelled to share that with you guys. It's a little experience in the real-time arena. Other than that, we did have 2 target hits here. Get rid of that, which is always nice. And as I've interacted with the AI live, a lot of the times, if you see a target get hit, it's just a good sign to go ahead and punch out a half, keep the other half for break even, or keep that original stop. That way, if it keeps on going, you get paid a little bit more. But a nice target hit in GAN, and then UONE. This one was a little special today because, man, what a beautiful entry right here at 860. I think my entry on that one was, yeah, I did take 6 cents of slippage, but that's not bad at all. And then boom, it runs up immediately. All of a sudden it gets halted. Tried to get a little bit out here, but boy, that market was fast. So got a little bit out up here and held the rest for the remainder of the day. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the AI posting really decent gains and good opportunity for trade arounds and whatnot. Unless there's anything else you want to point out, Andy, I think that's it for Holly type stuff.
No, and I think that's very valuable for you to be actually auto trading. So guys, yeah, pick his brain when he's in the support session and in here, because you actually have somebody who is auto trading with real money. So and he will show you that it's like him taking that half position off near highs. It works best when you have man and machine, okay? Because Holly is great about finding you the entries, but you're going to manage them better, from there on out. So I think that's really good that you're doing this.
Yeah, and I can tell you, since I first started doing this, I mean, nobody knew what kind of bugs were going to come creeping out of the woodwork, and we nailed quite a
Hmm.
few of them. And I
Yeah,
got to
you
say,
have.
it's a pretty smooth experience with E-Trade right now,
Good.
whether it's manual or automation. I'm going to test some other automation, some heavier automation out the remainder of the week, and it's coming along nice. So let me go ahead and kick this back over to you, Andy, and
All right.
there you go.
All right. So I got to thinking today, just because I'm kind of watching this market. I'm looking at, like I said, the breadth of the market, and basically all that is what stocks are doing well, and the number of stocks that aren't really performing. And you're going to find that a majority of the stocks are not performing, and not like, so it makes it difficult, especially like I said, if you're trading a lot of small caps, which a lot of active traders, including myself, like to trade. You might want to, if you're, scratching your head saying, man, what's going on here? The market's still right here by all-time highs, but my stocks are struggling. And that's because you got a handful of big stocks that are kind of just, they're going to be the ones that push the market around. An easy way to, do it, if you can just launch, an A window or a T window, go to search. So we're basically, let's say, what, 99% in the year range in the SPYs and the Qs. So, okay, so the big markets are doing very well on a year over year performance. So, but let's go in here and put position and range, year range, and we're going to fire this alert off, and let's see how many stocks are. We can just hit the, let me do that again for you. So guys, we got this little button here, right? This little microscope. It's our show me button. Just click on that and you can put in a number here. So let's just use 95. We're not going to use, we know the majority of the stocks are not 99 like the market, but let's put 95% and use our histogram. And look at there, you only have 700 stocks out of about 8,500. So you got over 8,000 stocks being pulled for this data right here, and only 700, a little over 700 of them are in the 95% range. Let's do 90. Still only 1,300. So you're basically, you know, let's probably less than 15, probably 15% of the stocks are in their upper 10% of their yearly range. We can throw 75 in here, which you think most of them would be in there, but it's not the case. You know, you still have far less than half of them are even in their upper 25% range of their yearly range. So that shows you right there, you cannot, you know, this tide is not lifting all boats, and that's just the way the weighting is and the way it works. So it can make it difficult for, you know, if you're trying to play individual stocks off what the market's doing. So that being said, I wanted to run a scan and maybe even back test it to see, you know, are some of these downward momentum, you know, scans working, since a lot of the stocks aren't performing to the upside. And not only that, I wanted to share something with you guys that may prepare you if the market does start getting a little shaky, that you can benefit on the short side. Okay, so I created this alert here, you going down, and it's pretty simple. Let's take a look at the configuration. It's just a new low. Stocks, we're looking for stocks hitting a new low, but here are the filters that have to be satisfied. So I went a little bit heavier. I usually use 500,000, but I went with 750,000 shares a day, just to kind of give it a little more liquidity if you're shorting sometimes, and on these thinner stocks, even 500,000 shares a day can be kind of thin. And so I just kind of, you know, bumped it up another 250,000 of my normal range. You can always change this and make it whatever you want to. I'm looking for stocks that have a relative volume of 1.5. In other words, I want them doing a little bit of volume as they're hitting these lows. Let me pull out my marker. Use this once at least today. So the relative volume has to be 1.5. The volume in the 5-minute has to be at least 200%. So that's 2 times normal as it's hitting this new low. Price has to be above $5. I already discussed this, and here's the key. Okay, the change from the 50-day SMA, I'm looking for it below it. That's why I got a max here of 0. But I don't want it too far below it. In other words, I don't want to catch stocks that are, you know, already have gone, you know, moved a pretty good that's where you get in trouble when you start chasing some of these shorts, especially in a bull market. So I wanted it kind of tight to that 50. So I used a 1%. It cannot be lower than 1% below that 50-day moving average. And of course, this is just a EPS. This is a good hack to eliminate all the ETFs. It's basically just saying the stock has to report, or any symbol coming through here must report earnings. And obviously ETFs do not. All right, so let's take a look at it. Okay, that's pretty simple. Now today, obviously with the big gap down and then the bounce back, I don't think we're going to find a whole lot of really good ones in here because of the big bounce we had after about an hour and a half in the market. But let's take a look anyway. Take a look and just see if it's working. In other words, we want to make sure we're seeing stocks that fit our eye on the chart here. And let's go down. I always avoid the first 20 to 30 minutes. So let's just start about 9 o'clock on this thing. And I think you're probably going to see a lot of stocks that did, this one definitely came down. There's your 50-day moving average. Okay, so it's breaking the 50-day moving average, bounce back, a little bit of pain, and then it did close, closer to your entry or closer to lows. That's still kind of a bearish look right there. UNP, you would be in the money. This is more, I think, for swing trading. Obviously, it can be for day trading as well. That would have been a nice little day trade if you caught this and could have, peeled off about $3 out of that. That one just kind of bounced, but you did see it was breaking through its. Now I think where this is going to be more beneficial if we have a stock market that gaps up maybe a little bit or is flat and then it starts to roll. Okay, I think this is going to be really nice to use as far as catching some good stocks that are breaking through their 50. This IR looks like it's having trouble with its 50. This one would definitely be in the money if you were swing trading it. KNL, see the bounce in the market kind of hurt. Now just imagine if the market didn't bounce, these would have probably continued lower and lower. So I think this is going to be a nice little tool, a nice little strategy when it comes to PAGs. That was a decent one there, and gave you like $5 to the downside. I don't know, I'm not sure what happened there. So anyway, this is interesting. This, I think this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put this in my like I said, in my quiver as well. If the market starts looking a little bleedy. So, but I wanted to show you something. Let's back test this, and then what we're gonna do is we're only gonna change one filter. And I did this beforehand, so I think you're gonna be amazed. So we're gonna back test this strategy for a swing trade. We're just gonna leave it open at 8:30 to 3 p.m. Timed exit's going to be close at the market open tomorrow plus 2 days, so basically a 3-day hold. Risk management is going to be a 3%, okay, stop loss. I'm not going to use a target, just going to let it run the full 3 days. Advanced, just roll this out for 64 days, and we're going to short it, so let's simulate sell. Now, when I was doing this today, I was not expecting this to perform very well in the bull market that we've had. But I think when I make one tweak, you're gonna be surprised. And it's a filter that I use a lot when I'm optimizing. Come on, baby. Now, like I said, this doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't look like it's performing very well. That's okay. We're looking for opportunity, you know, when the market maybe turns. Okay, so nothing to write home about there. 1,300 trades, profit factor below 1. So even though the average winner and average loser, that's not bad, but still not good. Didn't kill you, but you just didn't make any money. All right, so we're going to optimize this. And what we're going to do here is we're going to optimize. And a lot of this stuff is just logic, okay? So I said to myself, you know what? I bet when the SPY is down, this doesn't perform very well, but I bet when the SPY is up and you have stocks that are hitting lows and breaking their 50, those are probably going to be good stocks to short. So let me go to other filters here, and we are going to SPY change today percentage, and that's going to be the filter we optimize it on. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put just 0.1%. And you can see when the market's down, there's a lot of ugly profit factors, right? Because the market tends to bounce, and a lot of the stocks are gapping down and hitting lows and breaking their 50 because the market's down. They're just trading with the market. But watch this. You start getting down here in the upper part when the market's up on the day, it's like, wow, things really change their tune. So we're going to use this as our minimum. So we're going to set strategy for the change in SPY today. So the SPY is going to have to be up 0.4% or higher for us to see anything coming through our window. All right, so now let's run it again, and we're going to compare it with this one. Now remember, we're shorting in a raging bull market. Now the win rate's not going to be great, but I think you're going to be surprised by the win average winner versus average loser and the overall performance. And this just backs my theory, guys, about, you know, market breadth and what's kind of pushing this market around. It's the big boys that just keep going higher. They never break their 50. They never even get close to their 50. They just keep going higher. But you're shorting stocks that obviously aren't performing with the overall market, which is being led by the big boys. Come on now, you can do better than that. We shut a few servers down in after hours and start doing some. Holly takes over them to run the combine. Come on, baby. All right, there you have it. What a difference. What a difference just changing one filter, and that's a change in the SPYs. You have a profit factor now of over 2. I always tell people, guys, don't get so focused on your winning percentage. It's just average. Look at this average winner versus average loser. Gosh, that's 3 times greater. That's huge. If you can get an average winner versus average loser at that big of a difference, it's just gonna, you don't need a 50 to 60% winning percentage. So I thought it would, I knew it'd be better, but I had no idea it'd be that much better. Now, I'm going to share this with you, but I'm going to take out this filter, because what I don't want to happen is you take this window and you're only looking for when the when the SPY is up. Like in this current bull market that we have, that may be the strategy to play. But if the market changes and we start to seeing a lot of weakness and a lot of down days, you can miss a lot of opportunity, for day trading or swing trading if you're not trading anything, because the market's not up at least 0.4%. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. You can actually, there's a lot of stocks out there that you can short even in this current environment, this buy the dip environment, that will perform very well for you. So let me close this out, and what I'm going to do is, once again, I'm going to take out that strategy, guys. You can put it back in if you want to, but I like to use my eye when I'm looking at this stuff, and I can take into consideration what the market's doing, and you probably can too, I'm sure. So we are just going to share this without that filter, and then you can change it if you want to. All right, so that way you'll be getting stuff every day coming through here, not just when the market's up over 0.4%. So let me save and share, and I'll put it in the chat window there for you guys. You going down, and there you have it. All right, let's take a look now at the price alerts. And once again, guys, I'm getting back to the same stuff I've been talking about during this whole webinar. Is look at this, guys. You all have had some incredible picks, but look at these performances. They are just ugly. Not one. Oh, I got to get this one in there too. Not one winner. All losers. And that just goes to show you guys, once again, that it is it's the market where a few stocks are kind of running the show here, and a lot of them are just not performing, with it. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because guys, it's been a month now. I think we had one decent day during the last month where we had about 3 guys that had about 8 or 9% or something like that. Maybe it's higher, I can't remember, but the other 3 weeks have been pretty abysmal, and that tells me that boy, you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you're playing out there, because even though the market's close to all-time highs, a lot of stocks aren't, and some of them are just actually getting destroyed. So keep that in the back of your mind as we move forward, and we will do it again. And Ben actually had a short here that didn't work. Let me see what happened there. That's that crowd strike. Oh, it triggered and tried and bounced back. So one of those stocks that is performing well, that's for sure. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and erase them. They're ugly. Let's get them off the screen. A few of them didn't trigger. I see that. Let me go ahead and delete these, and we will try it again, guys. So what you're going to do, if you're new in here, guys, if you want to play this, and hopefully you will, just give me a stock that you've been watching and a price of where you'd like to see a trigger, an alert, and I will tag it here in my price alerts, and then we'll share them all at the end. So let me go ahead and delete these, because they're ugly. And once again, just give me, I'm going to assume it's a long, and some of you guys might want to try shorting, but I'm going to assume it's a long. If you don't tell me it's a short, it's a long. If you please, if you want it to be a short, let me know it's a short. All right, CNP, we got a first one by Slava. CNP. And 25.30. Oh, that's a good day. That's what we call some good relative strength there. That's looking pretty good there. Terrence, for Boozy, I need a price. And same thing with MVIS. You guys give me a price for those. Snow, 250.30 buy. 250.30 buy. And that is Ben Reynolds. If you see those, okay, CCXI, Gary R, 1505. You guys like to put them tight in here. Okay, Habib says MVIS, he wants that at 16. Let me go over here. All right, Spice Long from 54.20. Ooh, it looks like it's gapping up a little bit in after hours. And that is Walt. Terrence 18. So Terrence, let me go back here and see what his, is that Vuzi? I think it was. At 18. All right, HCM from Paul. And that is 37.77. Paul B. Okay, I sure will. Vuzi, if it were me, I'd like to catch them early, but in this case, I think you got a pretty good one in there. Okay, because reason so is you have this 50 coming down here, and you can see it's had a lot of trouble at this 50. Every time it tries to get through, it can't. So where you're putting it out right now, by the time it gets to that level, there's a good chance, it'll make one more attempt to break through that one. So I think, Terrence, that you have that's a decent alert for them. If you want to be safer, you might take it a little bit higher. I'll be happy to, but I think by the time it maybe gets back up there, see, right now this is at 18.12, so maybe by the time it gets up there, it's going to be right around that level. So maybe this time it'll poke through. It's given lots of shots for too. CNP, didn't we have a CNP already? Yeah, Slav, we have a CNP, so you have to pick another one there. Kier, I think it's your name. Jason, you have access. We can see your questions, but no, you can't use the chat window. I'm sorry. No, you have to drop it. Anything, just drop it in this questions panel and we'll get it. ENPH, please change it to 180.72. Cancel 181. CNPH, we don't. Okay, I can put it in there now. I haven't. Okay, ENPH, and you want it at 180.72. Alrighty. 2, and if they go off, they're just going to go off. I'm not going to change them. And that was Mike C. Gotcha, Mike. Oh yeah, Jamie just dropped you, Talal, Jamie just dropped you a link in there. There's a great getting started video. I'm not sure or TI University. He's giving you TI University, which it's in depth. It goes from 101 to 401, and it's going to cover everything. Okay. And also, as you're in that YouTube channel of ours, you will also catch, there's one in there, it's called Getting Started from Scratch. It's just an hour video that kind of goes over everything. If you want a quick start, that's a good place to do it. But then after that, you definitely want to get more in depth with that TI University. Okay, TRNS. And that's 6351. We're looking for a go, pause, go there. It looks pretty sweet. $51, and that is from Kier. That's a good one. Very strong, that is. 2 good volume bar days. Okay, LESL, Vincent, 2555. Oh, we got a short in here, FCX. I like it. Short at 33.57. So looking for it to break down below that low. And it's marked to short. And let me go back up here. And that is Daniel. All right, we've got some questions coming in. Okay, Dave, I got you. AMG, thanks for giving me that again. This because there's a lot of stuff being written in here and everything's moving fast. 171. And that is Dave Fontaine. Make sure, guys, I want to make sure I get these questions as well. I've created numerous alerts, top list, multi-strategy for pre-market day trading, and for some reason they do not work. Yeah, Skip, we have a, I can't share it in here, but if you send a, let me put it in here. Where did we go here? Okay, Jamie.
Right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
probably one of the filters that he's using that not reflecting pre-market.
Yeah, if you send and I will put the info. I'll put the email in here for you. Send a send your same complaint there, and we'll let you know. We'll send you a PDF that it shows you the stocks. I mean, the filters that would do work in pre-market and don't work in pre-market. So that's more than likely what's happening. Okay, some of the stuff. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome, Skip. Yeah, and we do that intentionally because some things you just won't working in pre-market, because what happens is if they work in pre-market, they can skew the live action where you have, the majority of obviously the volume comes in live market action. So you don't want that stuff being skewed in some low volume pre-market stuff.
So did you get Dave Fontaine and his AMG there? Okay.
I did. I think. All right, guys, going once, going twice. Looks like we have about a dozen in here. So if you do want to play the price alerts game, get it in here. Otherwise, I'm about to copy it and share it with everybody. Looks like going once, going twice, and gone. All right, let me go ahead and share these. And I'll drop it into the chat panel again. And there you guys go. I saw some pretty good ones in there, so you might want to make sure you get that link if you have trade ideas, so you can load it and have all these price alerts yourself. And not only that, you can keep track to see who's winning and losing. That's always fun. I take a peek pretty much every day, see how you guys are doing. It's been tough, I'm not gonna lie. Makes me wonder if this bull market may not be getting long in the tooth, but time will tell. I'm not going to make any stupid remarks about it's over, that's for sure. All right, guys, listen, no more questions. I'm sorry, Rena, I've already shared these. I will mark it down in here, but I won't be able to share it. But I will definitely mark it in here for you. So you want to do USO 5120, and we'll get it in here for you. Oh, you're gonna, let's see, I got that right, yeah. So I will be able to see it next week, but yeah, I won't be able to share it. There we go, I got you in there. All right, guys, listen, thanks, some great questions in here. If you do have any other questions, hang on here. Scott will tell you the best place to go to get those answered as we march out of here. But I'm going to bring him in right now, and you guys hang on. He will be offering out a discount code, so you can get a good deal on trade ideas.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Thanks. On the way out, want to make sure that you have the Favorite Strategy Indicators ebook. It's written by our Director of Software Development, Dave Mabe. It's got some great, he shows you his favorite ways to set up scans and trade ideas. There's also some helpful links in there for you to be able to put some of his ideas into your layout. So just go to tradeideas.com/strategy and grab it. It's a podcast. We've released some really insightful interviews this year, and hopefully we'll be releasing some more soon. So just search for Trade Ideas Podcast in your favorite app and hit the subscribe button. Download some of the previous apps and check those interviews out. And then if you're a subscriber, you'll be ready to pick up the next one as soon as we release it. We've got a new product. If you're not quite ready to sign up for a full Trade Ideas subscription, and if you like the trade of the week, you should give the Strength Alerts newsletter a whirl. It's only $17 a month, and you get 5 trading ideas delivered to your inbox every Sunday, and that's curated by our Michael Noss, who does a lot of the strategy engineering for our AI-based strategies. So go to tradeideas.com/strength and grab that. If you want to sign up today or upgrade, grab the code SUNSHINE and apply that on checkout. It'll save you 15% off your first installment. And any questions, shoot it to info@trade-ideas.com. That goes into our help desk software. So your questions never get lost. They get routed to the appropriate team member to help you out. And you can find Jamie on Twitter at QuantBot. Also find @TradeIdeas and @TISteveG for Steve. Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook handle. So find that page and like it and share it with your friends. The recording of this session will be up later on tonight or tomorrow. So stay tuned tomorrow for an email from GoToWebinar with a reminder about how to find it on our YouTube channel. All right, thanks everyone. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks all. Have a good one.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, everybody. I'll see some of you tomorrow on the Support Webby.
See you tomorrow.